The SAT has been the most widely used standardized test for college admissions in the United States since its inception in 1926. Most colleges require taking the SAT or its competitor, the ACT, for freshman entry. So, it goes without saying that efforts have to be taken to make sure that the prejudices in society aren't reflected in the SAT. College Board, the company that administers the exams, spends millions every year to make sure that the scales aren't tipped in anyone's favor. But that still doesn't stop esteemed academic journals like the Harvard Educational Review to label the exam as a white preference test. So where exactly does the SAT fall short in being the fairest one of them all? To learn the answer to this question, we studied how students in California schools fared on the SAT exams. First, let's talk about the way the exam is structured. It has 3 sections: math, reading, and writing, and they total to 1600 points. You're probably wondering which section is the most important of the 3, and you probably suspect that it's math. Let me confirm your suspicions with this visualization. It shows how each section contributes differently to the total average SAT scores. Math comes in first, followed by reading, and then writing. So now you know what to answer if a high school student asks you which section he should spend the most time on. Next, we tackle the million-dollar subject. Does being rich give you an edge on the SAT? The answer is yes, it does. 1586 is the average SAT score of students enrolled in schools which lie in counties that have an average household income between $80,000 and $90,000. In contrast, 1396 is the average SAT score of students in schools which lie in counties that have an average household income between $50,000 and $65,000. So, a student enrolled in a school in a richer county has a significantly high chance of scoring more than a student who is enrolled in a school in a poorer county. The point I'm trying to make here is, money does help to create a more conducive environment for students to do well in schools. The schools in richer counties might have better facilities, more qualified staff, and so on. To reinstate this point, we look at the top 15 schools in terms of their highest average SAT scores. And Santa Clara, the county with the highest average household income in California, has 6 schools in the top 15. That is just too much evidence to account all this to coincidence. We also discovered an interesting geographical element to this bias. 19 of the top 20 schools were along the coastline. Next, we tread the hot topic of race. You must have heard the stereotype that Asians are better in math. It turns out that some stereotypes are indeed based on facts. We also discovered that females outperform their male counterparts in each ethnicity. The only anomaly to this is the Native American population, where the females are found to be less successful at the SAT than their peers of opposite sex. To conclude, I'd like to say, the most persistent statistical result from the SAT is the relation between high income and high test scores. As a result, the SAT has lowered the chances of admissions for underrepresented minority applicants who come from disproportionately disadvantaged backgrounds. Part of the reason for this may be that students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds cannot afford extra test preparations. Test preparation companies such as Kaplan and the Princeton Review generate billions of dollars in revenue. On average, the African American students score 100 points lower than white students. Thus, the SAT has evolved from being a test that encouraged meritocracy to a test that serves as a reinforcement of privilege in American education. The solution to this problem, as experts suggest, is for college admissions committees to judge a student on what really matters. Demonstrated achievements are reflected in the high school records and the performance on subject tests. Thank you.